Wow, wow, wow. Hello and welcome to the Penno channel. Um, yeah, we've done an emergency stream here, gone live because there's just been some mad Villa announcements that have just come through. It looks like David Ornstein has just dropped a mega story. So before we start, if you could like the stream, also subscribe if you're new around here, and also drop your comments on this news I'm about to release. So David Ornstein has just tweeted that Aston Villa have agreed a fee of £35 million with Chelsea for Ian Maatsen, the Dutch international who is currently at the Euros with Holland. Mad, absolute scene. So we've had the whole build up around the Douglas Luiz transfer, Weston McKennie, the hold up with him in Juventus, and Samuel Illings Jr. The whole John Duran transfer as well, going to Chelsea is going to happen. Chelsea doing investigations, etc. And then there's been kind of rumours about Maatsen happening. There've been links with Maatsen, Aston Villa really liking him, and just out of nowhere, it seems like a fee has been agreed between Villa and Chelsea for the services of Ian Maatsen. Quality fullback, went on loan to Dortmund last year, played in the Champions League final, was integral in their pursuit to the Champions League final, had an amazing season the year before that on loan at Burnley, was instrumental in helping them get promoted. Quality player, and it looks like the fee's around 35 million. Or is it because also within that, Fabrizio tweeted after stating that potentially the deal could also involve another player that is not John Duran. What is going on here? So, yeah, it looks like Villa want to sign Maatsen. They would have obviously spoken to him before. There'll be continued talks with Maatsen. He's at the Euros now. I mean, Holland have got a game coming up. Is it tomorrow or the day after? I think it's the day after. So he'll be busy with that with the squad, but it's mad how transfers can go, whilst the Euros is taking place, and deals can be done. And it's just mad. It's just come out of nowhere. So David Ornstein has said £35 million deal, potentially 6-year contract. Villa are looking to offer Maatsen. So if all goes to plan, that's what he'll be signing. 22 years of age. As I said, he's in the Dutch squad. He got called up. He's in Dutch international, and just a very, very forward-thinking left back who has bags of ability. And in the way Unai likes to play, he likes his fullback to get forward. Maatsen will offer that and more. If you watch his time at Burnley, which a lot of Premier League fans would have watched Championship football as well and saw him at Burnley, you'd have seen the impact he had there. Surprised Chelsea didn't stick with him. They tend to go with Cucurella and Chilwell being injured as well. But then he went on loan to Dortmund the second half of the season this year and absolutely flown. And, Dortmund got to Champions League final. He was a big part of that. So, yeah, fantastic signing. So bags of potential, young, international footballer who can just keep going and then keep improving. But the big question now is, okay, so if it's not John Duran, which it seems like, okay, Chelsea does stories about potentially doing background checks. You know how the people have spoken about Duran potentially having an attitude problem. John McGinn did the interview stating, how he can be difficult at times as well. I don't know if he's does have an attitude problem. Maybe he's difficult, but that he might not be that bad. But you've seen the article saying Chelsea are kind of stalling on that. They had a bid for Atletico Madrid striker as well, a young talent as well, and that could ruin away from Duran. But for Fabrizio putting in the last line of his latest tweet stating that potentially another player could be involved in the deal. Who's that player? Those in here, let me know your thoughts on who that player could be, because I've just been thinking, it's got my head spinning a bit. So before I get to Luke, so yeah, thanks for joining, Luke. He says, buzzing for this, absolute baller. And if you get Ian Jr. from Juve, we are flying left back. Yeah, those two definitely for sure. I can see Ian Jr. potentially playing further forward, but young talents, man, 22, and I think Ian Jr. is 21. And he's England under 21 international. Ian Maatsen's now Dutch international as well. Just sell on value, bags of ability going forward. Yeah, great signings. But if there is a player involved in this, and then the actual full-on fee is we pay the 35 million, and Chelsea pay a fee for one of our players, who is the player that could be potentially involved if it's not John Duran? Well, I'm thinking Chelsea have had links previously to Matty Cash now. Matty Cash has had loads of links so far this window. The two Milan clubs being the big ones. He's had links to AC and Inter. Villa have put a 30 million price tag on him. And AC Milan, it seems as if they weren't willing to go to that price. Well, go to that price tag when they were aiming to go lower, maybe 10. 5 to 10 million pounds lower than that. But Chelsea, there was reports 6 months ago, maybe a bit longer than that, saying that Chelsea were interested in Matty Cash as a potential right back. Obviously, Reece James, he can't stay fit. They can't rely on Reece James, so that only leaves them really with Mal Gusto as a full functioning right back. Obviously, they play Trevor Chalobah out there and Axel Disasi as well, but that's not their positions. Trevor Chalobah can operate that. He's similar to Konza, where he can play centre back and right back. But it seems like Chelsea want a straight up right back who that's his position. They don't want a right back that can interchange and also play centre back as well. So they've got Mal Gusto. Reece James can't stay fit. So Matty Cash potentially could be that player that they could possibly be looking at. It seems like Villa are willing to listen to offers for Matty Cash, and if that is the case, wow, we'll see. We'll see how much Chelsea would be willing to pay for that. Because if Villa are asking for 30 million and Chelsea pay 30 million for Matty Cash, Ian Maatsen would gain from Matty Cash and 5 million more. How do you feel about that? If that is the outcome, for me, that's a great deal. But how would you feel about that if that is the case? Other potential players, well, there's obviously a massive hold-up with Douglas Luiz and Juventus. It seems there's reports it was McKennie and Villa, but I don't think that's the case. It seems that the overarching news regarding that is McKennie's having trouble with Juventus. He's got a fee that he should receive once he's been sold from Juve. Obviously, McKennie could stay and he has potential to run out his contract and you get an even bigger payout if someone was to pick him up for a free transfer. You get an even better contract with that. But he wants a form of severance from Juventus around 2 million euros, I think it is. And Juventus are unwilling to pay for it. So there's a real store and a hold-up regarding that. Obviously, Douglas Luiz can go till the 30th of June. If PSR is that big problem and we do need to get a substantial fee for PSR. So if it is Dougie, that deal could run on. But if not, maybe Dougie could go Chelsea. Who knows? Who knows? It's fab putting that last sentence in the tweet stating that there's potentially another player from Duran instead of Duran. Has really thrown me. Yeah. Luke said as well, do you think Duran is going? Think the agent is throwing smoke and mirrors? Potentially, yeah. Or is it Monchi throwing smoke and mirrors? I mean, it seems like Monchi has a very good relationship with Fabrizio. I remember last season, the Zaniolo talk, the Pau Torres talk, anything to do with Douglas Luiz. You see, where previous regimes, the Purslow regime, Fabrizio used to get no information regarding our transfers whatsoever, or breaking any news regarding Aston Villa. We kept everything really touch tight. But it seems the way Monty operates, he likes to use, social media presence within the transfer industry to help manipulate the market in Villa's favour, and potentially Fabrizio stated something to, that last sentence to potentially be another player to move things on, or there actually is another player. And yeah, it's really interesting who that could be, because that really got me thinking. Like, Chelsea have had links to a few players. They've had links to Emi Martinez. They've had links to Matty Cash. Obviously, John Duran as well. That's free. Is there anyone else that could be involved within this? The automisation of Maatsen over 6 years, if it's 35 million over 6 years, it's just under 6 million a year. So we'd be looking to pay if we automise it over a 6-year contract, which is good value. But yeah, if we're looking to sell for big profits, it's interesting to see who it will be. No doubt they'll have someone in mind, and potentially it's not just we're paying 35 million to Chelsea and everything's closed, shut up shop. I think there will be money coming back in our direction from Chelsea, and it's just who is it? Who's going to be that player? I would like to know your guys' thoughts, because that's really got me stumped. Potentially there'll be more stuff coming out tonight as well, and a player might be announced tonight who Chelsea are actually going for from Villa. But yeah, I think Matty Cash is interesting. That's an interesting one. I just hope it's not Emi, but there were links to Emi Martinez for sure. But I really hope it's not Emi. If there's any other players you think, I don't think it'd be like a Dendoncker or one of our left backs, like a Lucadinho or Alex Moreno. I think they wouldn't go to Chelsea. I think they'd go to other areas around Europe or the world. But yeah, man, that's just really interesting. Luke said it again. Thanks for commenting, Luke. He says, Penno, do you think Dumfries is coming? He said recently he's excited to stay at Inter, cash wanted by Inter. Yeah, so that's another interesting one. More transfer stuff. Dumfries, again, he's part of the Dutch squad as well now. So if Maatsen's coming, Maatsen and Dumfries can talk and chat. You know, they're together at this moment in time. Is that going to happen? Villa have been linked with Dumfries on a number of occasions. There was a report coming out very recently. It was either yesterday or the day before, saying Dumfries was ready to agree a new deal with Inter and sign on. He only has a year left on his contract, and he's getting on a bit now. I think he's 29 in footballing terms, so he'll be looking for his last big deal really at his peak. Does he see out his contract and wait for to go on a free next year? Yeah, I'm not too sure Dumfries happens. I'm not sure that one happens, but I think Matty Cash is going to go this summer. I think he's another name that's going to go. And again, I've said this in a number of transfer videos. I think there's going to be a massive overhaul with this squad, just so we can sell a number of players at their peaks that we see and think that, okay, we sell them at this price, we can get players who can either develop into that level or who are already made at a cheaper cost around the continent, or around the continent really. So you've got your Alex Buenas, man. If that release clause is true, the 35 million euros, Villa could be looking into that. There's obviously many links. Conor Gallagher, I don't think that will. He's one player. I don't think that will happen now. I think he's going to stay at Chelsea. I think they've realised his ability and what he offers to them, which is a shame. So if we're looking at it really, Dougie going, Weston McKennie, Samuel Illings Jr. and Ian Maatsen so far, and then another player leaving us to go to Chelsea. Yeah, I really want to know. I'm really intrigued to know who that is. Timmy Boonen knows the story as well. Everton, £10 million. That went quiet today, but yesterday that was flying. That seemed like it was close to being done. So yeah, there's going to be a number of outgoings from Villa, and it's just going to be such a great summer. It's going to be so interesting. Kevin's joined. Thanks for joining. Kevin said Maatsen's cash. Yeah, Maatsen is a quality footballer, and he's 22 years of age. He's so young, and think of what he's done already. He's been integral in a promotion at 20 years of age. If you watch Burnley play, he was unbelievable for Burnley in the Championship, and I was shocked that they weren't able to get him back on loan. I think I do remember the story, but he didn't want to go back because he thought he had a pathway through to the Chelsea first team. That didn't turn out to be the case. He was there for half the season. Eventually, ended up going to Dortmund, and you know how young players thrive at Dortmund, and he thrived again. Him, Sancho, went in Jan and turned on Dortmund's fortunes around, and they were so close to winning that Champions League. So he's an absolute quality player, and there's so much more room for development regarding him. Spengdon, Bailey going the other way. Wow, that would hurt as well. If it was Leon Bailey, that would really hurt because what a player. And it's mad because you think about it now. If it was a Leon Bailey, could that be potentially? If that was to happen, could that mean if Weston McKennie's stalling on the Dougie part, could a Chiesa be an option? It's all mad because then he would play off the right side where Leon Bailey likes to operate. Obviously, Leon Bailey he's more now gone to play on the right side of midfield. He was playing close to Watkins, but Diaby has taken that role now, and Leon Bailey will play on the right. What about if a Chiesa comes in and plays off that right, and a Leon Bailey does go? Oh, there's so many things. I just want to know who this other player is if it isn't Duran, because I kind of got my heart set now on Duran going. I really rate Duran, and I think he'll develop into a fantastic player. But with everything that's happened and how it's ending, the agent talk, even the silly stuff with Duran, which I think he means is harmless, is the liking for pictures and all that sort of stuff, which I think is harmless. I've kind of got over that Duran would be going now. But if he doesn't, what's his position? What would his position be at Villa now? I don't think he could stay. But I do feel there would be a lot of interest in Duran, and I don't think he'd be able to stick around. But Leon Bailey, that's mad to me. I hope it's not true, but yeah, that's a good player to shout out. Kevin says something tells me Luiz is going for us to shell out 35 million. Yeah, I think that was the overall plan. I mean, the deal with Juve was 18 to 20 million euros, wasn't it? If the Earring Boon and stuff's true as well, that's another 10 million euros. You've got what, near enough 30 million euros, as well as having 2 players in. That'd be close to covering Maatsen. But it's just Fabrizio putting that last line saying another player that isn't John Duran could be involved in the deal. Who is this player? who is it? Because that. Oh, Chelsea! It's Chelsea as well. Like who? Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Ken M, thanks for joining. He's gone no. I think that's to Leon Bailey. I have to agree with that, but who knows? Michael's joined as well. Hello, Michael. Thanks for joining as well. Let me know some other players in the comments, guys. Who do you think Villa could offer to Chelsea, or who Chelsea would want, or Villa would offer? That's not Duran, Matty Cash, Douglas Sweet. I don't know. Just because it's stalling with Juve, or I just remember them having links to Emmy. I don't think it will be Emmy, but I just remember them having links. And there's been links with Chelsea regarding Emmy before, and they're not settled on their keeper. Robert Sanchez has been a flop since they've signed him, and Petrovic has been decent, but I think they still want to improve. Marcus said, I believe there's a lot of agent talk from the Duran camp. Let's not shoot the player. Yeah, exactly. Facts. I agree with Duran. If he leaves with my blessing. I think he'll go on to be a great player, and definitely, I think there is agents talk regarding that. I don't think it's all bad on Duran. And I think a lot of the squad like him. They just find he's just hard to deal with. I don't think he's to the extremes of Mario Balotelli, but I remember a lot of the City squad, since they've retired, they talk about Balotelli, and they actually liked him. And he was just a bit of a pain for the managers to control. Kevin's gone Carlos. Yeah, that's the shout. Obviously, Thiago Silva's leaving Chelsea now. I don't know if they'd go for Carlos. They had Wesley Fofana's to come back from injury. He's been injured for a long time now. They've got Badiashile. They've got Disasi. They've got Chalobah currently, but I think they'll be looking to offload Chalobah as well. So they could be looking for another centre back. Whether it's Diego Carlos, I don't think it would be. I think Diego Carlos, if he goes now, he either goes to, I don't know. Like you could see him at a West Ham type club, or he leaves the country if he was to go. Spengon said, I said Bailey because Elise doesn't seem to be keen. Yeah, it's a shout. It's a shout for sure. Like, Bailey would be an absolute. Yeah, I don't want that to happen at all. But if they're obviously looking for a right-sided midfielder, right winger, and if that is the case, Spengon, I don't know. I haven't seen the developments with Elise. I know he's gone to the Olympics, Elise now. As well, obviously deals can be done, but he's just gone to join the French squad. Kevin's gone Diaby. I'm clutching out. I don't think Diaby. I think Diaby's only signed a year ago, and obviously I think Diaby will be looking to go to the next level. He had a decent season, but I think he'll looking to go to the next level next year. It's just that Bailey's been here a number of years as well. Yeah, I ain't putting thoughts in your guys' heads on mine either, but that was a shout, Springburn. Is there any other players you could think of? I've seen some Watkins. No, he ain't going to be Watkins. I don't think that's the case at all. I think Matty Cash is a very good shout, if that is the case, because Chelsea have been linked to Matty Cash previously. And Reece James, they can't trust Reece James. So it leaves them with Malo Gusto. That Adam Gilchrist, they don't really trust him. He played a couple of times against us. I don't think he was great, to be honest. He came through the academy. I think they're looking to move him on as well. So they've got Malo Gusto. They've got Trevor Chalobah, who isn't really a right back, and I don't think they want to play that way. And a number of times when they played this season, Malo Gusto was out injured, Reece James was out injured, Gilchrist they didn't fancy, so they were having to play a centre back who wasn't really, not like Konza, who could, play both positions. They had to stick out someone out there who wasn't great playing right back. So yeah, I could see him needing a right back. Matty Cash, it seems like a lot of clubs want Matty Cash and rate him. Kevin's gone again. Jacob Ramsey. There's something in the Jacob Ramsey stories because Ornstein released it as well. And Ornstein doesn't really release anything if there's not something within that. A few months ago now, when he was injured, there was talk of potentially that Villa would have to sell Ramsey for PSR reasons. And Newcastle were linked at the time. Again, another player I'd hate to see leave. Especially after the season he's just had. Like, you want Ramsey playing for us in the Champions League. The guys from Great Bar, like, and he was so integral the season before, and he's just been unlucky with injuries. I think a lot of fans forget how good Jacob Ramsey was, and yeah, I wouldn't like to be him, but he was a player who's been mentioned over the months that Villa could potentially look to move on for PSR reasons. But yeah, that's a good shout, Kevin, for sure. Yeah, I just wanted to jump on and chat about that. I'm in shock. I'm in shock because Maatsen's a quality player. He will be great for us. We're going to have a plethora of left backs. So some of them have got to move on now. You got to think we signed Lina Souza on loan, albeit he didn't have a great time at Plymouth. He didn't get many minutes, but we did bring him in on loan as well. We did sign him permanently and send him out on loan from to Plymouth from Arsenal. So that's Lina Souza, Alex Moreno, Luca Digne, potentially Samuel Illing Jr., who I think will play off the left and potentially the right side of midfield because he's left-footed. But he can play left back, and he's kind of played left back in a 3-5-2 more than a 4-4-2, which we operate in. But yeah, him as well, who could potentially play there, and then Maatsen as well. Yeah, Kevin said, what about a left back going the other way? Yeah, I just don't think Moreno and Digne go to Chelsea. If Chelsea's transfer policy seems to be players who are not of that age, like Moreno and Digne are 30 plus now. So I just can't see them. Only Thiago Silva's really the player that they've signed who's of that age. So I don't really see that happening under the new regime. Tracy's gone Mbappe or Haaland. Yeah. Villa got Mbappe and Haaland in the squad for sure. Marcus says we have to keep hold of our best players. Yes, our one or two who are older and a few years left on their contracts, but we need stability to improve. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that, but I just think Monchi doesn't operate like that. On past histories, I think Sevilla he had one window where he had a turnover of 15 players. 15. Roma, he chopped and changed. He liked to sell players when he thought they hit their peak and their max value, and then would look to get players of a cheaper value and bring them in, who he thought could either be developed to that level, or were at that level now. So that's how he operates as a sporting director. So I wouldn't be surprised if more big names do go. I just think this window he's going to throw up so many shocks within our targets and players that are going. I mean, even the Timmy Bruno, and I know he didn't get many minutes, but just to see 10 million Everton links, it was just like, yeah, out of nowhere. Drogba robbed in Champions League against Barca, unfair. Tracy might be a Chelsea fan. Let me know your thoughts, Tracy, on Ian Maatsen if you rate him. Yeah, man, shocked. It's nice to see a transfer again come out of nowhere. I know there'd been small links, but it's just get that statement instead of this slow build-up with the Douglas Luiz deal, which is going on and on and on. It's nice to see that Maatsen stuff just come straight out there. Again, a 6-year contract, automisation is going to be what? 35 million. To say 36 million would be 6 million, so it'd be just under 6 million a year. Yeah, quality signing. But yeah, it was just a quick one to jump on in and get your guys' thoughts. Because yeah, that really took me out. That news it was a surprise this evening. And obviously Scotland are going to be kicking off soon, and I want to see what John McGinn does because yeah, they've got to step up and try and get through. We'll see how he performs tonight. But yeah, the Euros have been quality if you've been watching as well. Yeah, they've been absolutely quality. It's nice to have an international tournament. It just changes, the styles of play, and it's just a bit different. It's nice to see some new players within there. If you watched Turkey yesterday, they had a number of really good players who could potentially be making moves around Europe, and yeah, it would be interesting to see where some of them go. But yeah, thanks for joining anyway. I'm going to close out here. Ken's put a quick message in. He says, if you change the team so much, it will be a shock to the system. Yeah, I agree. I'm only saying this because of what Monchi's previously done and how he's previously operated. That's an opinion you can have, Ken. I seem to agree with that. You'd rather have stability and the continuation. Dougie, I get, because he's fantastic player, phenomenal. He's been outstanding for us. He's been here 5 years though, and that is a long time for a player to stay, especially a player who's a Brazilian. He's a Brazilian. he was so young when he joined us. That loyalty really is very rare. So Dougie, I can understand you might see it as his time has come to an end. Even though we've just got Champions League, he might want to change because he's been here for such a long time. He's one of our longest serving players after Mings and McGinn. He joins in. He's in the Konza window as well. So yeah, and those guys are from Britain. They're British born. So yeah, mad. But yeah, I'm going to close it out here. I want to see how McGinn gets on as well and how Scotland do tonight. Thank you all for joining. Let me know in your comments. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Who could this other Villa player be that could potentially be involved with this Chelsea deal? It might be some of the names we mentioned within this, but if there's any others you can think of, please let me know. But yeah, looks like Ian Maatsen will be joining Aston Villa. £35 million fee agreed. We'll see if that is the case or players are involved in the deal. It will develop. 6-year contract Villa are looking to offer Maatsen. Great signing for me. Let me know your thoughts as well on the player, the fee, and how you feel about this window and the ups and downs of it. It's going to be mad for sure. But yeah, if you could like the stream, subscribe if you're new here as well. And please let me know your comments because I like responding to and appreciate you showing the support and watching as well. Up the Villa, and we'll be back later on in the week.